Hi, I just received an amazing question, which I'm very excited about. This is coming from a friend of mine, JD. He contacted me. He's on Facebook. His link and information are below if you want to follow him. His philosophies are real similar to mine. There's a lot of stuff that we do. We found each other about a week ago, and I went, whoa, someone's out there saying some of my stuff, but it's not my stuff. It's his stuff. He's come to the same conclusion as I came around the same time. It's absolutely extraordinary. So give him a shout out. Take a look at his stuff down there. But he posed this question. He asked me if if perspective thinking is similar or related at all to the energy, if it was the same thing. And I think that was the question, was, is it the same thing? Absolutely not. Not at all. Not at all. There is the energy pool, which is that beautiful warm blanket that physicists are currently poking at over at Kern. And it surrounds us, it's through us, it's in us, it's everywhere. The energy pool is this massive, it's aerial, it's absolutely all encompassing. It's above us, below us, through us, around us, and in every object. It is in every animal, every plant, everything. It is the energy presence of molecules themselves. If it's a molecule, it's got energy to it. It's the friction and the energy comes from the friction. The energy comes from the friction that's produced from the molecules rubbing against each other, which is why everything produces an energy, which is why everything has an energy. Humans are no different. Now, that being said, there are positive charge and there are negative charge, and in the middle is neutral. You know what else works like this? Emotions. Emotions absolutely work like this. Words work like this because words have an associated Pavlov dog's conditioned response inside of our brain so that we can feel the energy shift from association when we use a word. So, and you can change the association of the word by changing how you use the word. It's basic cognitive behavioral therapy and conditioning. You're brainwashing yourself to develop an emotional / energy response to a certain word. So that when you think of a word, money, you have a feeling that comes out. When you think of a word, confidence, that produces a different kind of energy because it changes the way the positive and the negative charge are produced, creating a beautiful little cocktail of what energy you're going to get. This is how manifestation works. Big topic, we'll talk about that later. For now, let's talk about the perspective. The perspective is only the ability to step out and see a bigger picture. We all had perspective level 1 at one point. When we were 1 year old, that was perspective level 1. When we were infants, that was all perspective level 1. Perspective level 2 is that toddler stage, that 2-year-old who can communicate kind of barely, but not at all. That's perspective 2. Perspective 3 is a terrible tantrum. That's where you see that toddler tantrum independence. That's hyper independence. That isn't aggression. That's where Dr. Graves got that wrong. It is not aggression. It is independence. Absolutely solid independence right there. And it just exudes. Now, you're supposed to have a caregiver at that stage directing you and making sure that you go along with a certain behavior, but that's not what's happening. What's happening is mommy and daddy are doing perspective abuse, trying to get the 3-year-old to stop having the tantrum, and they don't know how because they're 2s, they're 4s, and they don't understand this yet. You won't get to this until you're at stage 8. Then you can see the dynamic. Then you can step in and go, oh, or somebody from a higher perspective can pass that information on to you via education and conscious awareness. That's how we raise up the standards of the 1s, the 2s, the 3s to meet level 4s. But these were supposed to be covered when we were children. Children. When you hit 5 years old, you should be at level 5. You should be ethically and mentally subconscious minds at level 5. But we live in a level 4 society, so we're stopped. So how this is just perspective. This is just basically what you value. And what you value, it's the relationship between your authority and your ethics. That's what it is. It is the relationship between your authority and your ethics. When you have those two things combined, you get a perspective. Okay? So your perspective is just who has the authority and what are your ethics. If you value ethic A and have authority B, well, that puts you at 1. It's extraordinary how it works. Understanding who has your authority. Now watch this with authority. With perspective one, the authority is on the caregiver. The caregiver is God. In this example, we are going to refer to the word God as authority. God. God equals authority. So watch this. You have at stage one, perspective one, an infant who views the mother figure, the caregiver, as God. Whatever that person says determines when I get to eat. Whatever this person deems my bedtime, that's my bedtime. So you have a one who visualizes that caregiver as the authority. Now, when you shift into perspective two, they stop being the authority and you realize there is a whole family unit. The whole family has the authority, but usually that's daddy. That's level four thinking, by the way. That is level four thinking. That there's a hierarchy and daddy has to be in charge and then mommy. That's very, very perspective four thinking. So that authority passes to the full unit. Maybe you all get a say, but it's ultimately up to the father to decide. Maybe you all get a vote, but we're all thinking as a family unit. This is very Borg thinking. If you watch Star Trek, that's very Borg. Right there it is. Now, moving on to level three, tribal, by the way, is what that's referred to. The authority shifts. The authority turns to you, the independent, the individual. I have the authority. I don't have to talk about the caregiver. I don't have to talk about what I want with the family. I'm not going to, this is all about me. And that's very healthy for a 3-year-old. For a 3-year-old, that is very healthy. But we don't keep it at that. We end up getting abused at this stage. So we have a lot of adults running around acting like a 3-year-old. All narcissists are stuck at 3. All narcissists are stuck at 3. Okay? That is why, because their authority is going, I'm the authority. The fourth one is, no, the system is the authority. The system is the authority. Sound familiar? We're all living in it. Level 5s say, no. The system and I are the authority. That's right. The system and I. Congratulations, you have completed round 1 of human development. Round 2. You step into 6. You've got the whole, all right, I got the authority. The system has the authority. We're going to share the authority. But what about ethics? Now we're starting to realize that the planet matters, that animals matter, that plants are a part of this, that the fish and the ocean and the forests are part of this. Now, authority is established. That took us levels 1 through 5. The next stage of the game is ethics. And I don't think that's right. It's something else. It's something else. I got to think about this for a minute. It's definitely something else. What is it? It's seeing beyond things that are species. We are seeing beyond our species. We are seeing beyond our species. Special. Is that a word? Special. I want to say it's interspecial. Oh, it's spelled special. Playing around with words right now. Species. Interspecial? Speciest? All right. Well, we're just going to keep it there. It's when the walls and the boundaries of species come down. That's it, really. From levels 1 through 5, you cannot see, they cannot see the species as being part of us. Everything's divided. And that's the other thing is there's also a visual, a blinder. There's a blinder on. So at 1, you can only see you and mom. And at 2, you start to see you and the family. At 3, you see just you again and you versus the world. And then 4, you see you and the system. With you and the system, you then have the you. It's now a partnership. You've reached partnership status, and you're either complete or you are now going, or you keep going. And if you keep going, it's you versus the system. And then the next one is you and the species. So you go out. So level 6 is very much, oh, there's species here and they need to be taken care of too. My actions are hurting them. So now you have right and wrong entering into it. Now you don't need somebody telling you what's right and wrong. You can do that on your own. By the way, you should be 6 years old when you get here. You should be 6 reaching this stage. 6 years old. You should have the ability to consciously say, oh, my actions are hurting others. The primary emotion at this stage is empathy. It is the stage you are supposed to learn empathy. 6 years old. 6 years old. So if you're a 45-year-old and you're a level 4, you are still thinking it's just the authority belongs to them. I need somebody to tell me what my ethics are. I don't have the ability to determine right and wrong without the system telling me what right and wrong is. That's why we have cops. That's why we have a law system. That's why we have enforcement. It's because levels 1 through 4 have no ability to determine their own ethics. And they were supposed to learn this at ages 1, 2, 3, and 4, and they didn't. So now you have a bunch of adults running around. So you get to level 6 and you develop ethics. You reach level 7. That's when you start to see all of this. Not all of it. You realize that there's something there and there's an even bigger picture. But that's when you really start to see the system is just this thing, this unit, boom, in the middle of the rest of existence. And now you're outside of the matrix. Now you realized you were being forced to see what others wanted you to see, just like in the matrix. Right there it is. Now, this is just perspective. This is no different than you getting on an airplane and going up to the sky. This is no different than you getting onto a spaceship and going into space and looking down at Earth. Completely different. This is perspective. This is viewpoint. And what's wrong with the world is perspective abuse. That's what's wrong with the world. So here we are now at the very basis of this with energy. And energy is moving and shaping and shifting all around us. And because we're on this massive perspective war, I'm going to refer to this as the perspective wars. Yeah, that's the perspective wars. And that's just it. The perspective wars are coming to an end. That's my goal, as I'm ending the perspective wars. It's ridiculous. And that is world peace. When we end the perspective wars, we'll be walking into world peace because violence ends after level 4. This is beautiful. Ready? Violence is very much a stage 3 perspective trait. That is exactly all it is. If you are an adult who's violent, you are very much, that's your subconscious mind living and stuck at level 3. Once you get to level 5, this is again where that transition happens. There's a divide. And if you value growth, then you'll just go on. If you don't value growth, if you value comfort zone, you're going to stay. So, and it depends on how much. Some people might be toggling. Some people are right on that balance and they'll jump over and they'll run toward growth and then they'll go back to comfort zone and then they'll stay there. Some people will go to growth, get traumatized, go back to trauma zone or comfort zone and then shut down and never try again. There's all different colors and shapes and sizes. So if you grow and if you go on, there's a massive shift. The first shift that takes place is an understanding that we're all different and it's the differences that make us strong. Now, people have heard this, but have not understood it. When you are a perspective 7, 8, you can't do things. You just can't because you don't have the perspective to do it. I'm talking about level 3s, 4s. This is very common. Level 2, 3, 4, higher. 3, 4, 5s, higher levels 6, 7s. And 6, 7s, higher 3, 4s. This is where the 6, 7s go, ooh, I need to move. Let me call somebody. And 3 4s are going, ooh, I need to come up with a business plan. Let me call somebody. You need each other. You need each other. What you are doing is tapping into somebody else's perspective to gain help because your perspective is insufficient. That's the key. All of our perspectives are insufficient. I can only tell you level 8 stuff. I remember level 7 stuff, and I'm starting to forget it already. I left it on Sunday. That's the transition. That's the transition. Listen to me so very carefully. That's the transition. Forgetting is part of the transition. I had it for like 4 days where I could remember 7 and I could see 8. And I had 4 days where I went, whoa, 7 is different than 8. It is the first time I made a shift and I consciously was aware of it. This was the first time I was consciously aware of my shift. I felt it and I went, oh, and I just went, whoa. And I was on the staircase and I like had to balance myself and my brain was just pouring heat. And I just looked up and went, I just had a perspective shift. I am now at 8. And within 30 minutes, I could see, instantly I could see it, but I couldn't make sense of it. And then it started to break down and it was like my eyes opened for the first time and I could see, and the lights were blind at first. And then once my eyes adjusted, I could see it. I could see this massive, I saw combination theory. That's what it was. I saw combination theory. And I've just been in this state of culture shock from 7 to 8. And I knew what it was. I documented it all. And then yesterday I was depressed. And that's from the culture shock and then the drop. And I went, oh, I'm going through the grief stages. You go through the grief stages. And I just counted my losses. I just counted my gains. I'm unknown. I'm at a loss. And then I settled down into depression. I did self-care yesterday. And I said, I'm going to wake up and I'm going to have the epiphany and it's going to all come to me and it's going to be day 1. So technically today is day 1 of my perspective 8. I was there. Let me pull up a calendar because it was Sunday. So 5, yeah, let me see, Thursday, Wednesday, Monday, Sunday. So 4, so 27, 26, 25, 24. 27, 26, 25, 24. So July 24th is when I had the perspective shift. And here I am on July 27th. And I've already forgotten. I'm forgetting 7s. I'm forgetting. You can only see what's in your perspective and you only have a few days where you can see that adjustment. And as people do a perspective shift, oh, I'm going to go right in and I'm going to be like, quick, give me the information. I want to like document this. You should be looking for ABC. These are the transitions you should be going through. You should also be looking at going through a period of grief stage. You're going to need about four mental days where you just adjust. So it's going to be a thing where you say, hey guys, I just went through a perspective shift. I'm going to need 3 or 4 days. And then you settle down and we'll have the documents all ready for you. You'll know what's coming next in that perspective. So you'll be prepared and you'll know, oh, okay. And now the question is, are you aligned? Have you reached your new alignment? Is that where you need it to be? Did your subconscious mind finally catch up to your ethical perspective? And that's the goal here. That's what we're doing. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to happen in waves. The first wave is going to be this one right here. We are level 5 and higher is what's being drawn to the healing garden. You're not going to find any level 3s here. We're not going to find any level 4s here. I want light workers. I need light workers to come in, and I need to get you on board with Operation Imagination. This is how it starts, and this is where I'm going. I know how to get us to world peace because we're going to use this to catapult it. But I need 5s, 6s, and 7s. There's only 2 people I know of who might be 8s, and I need to talk to them. The Wachowski sisters, the ones who wrote The Matrix. I have a couple friends who know them, so I will get in touch with them and talk to them. I am certain they are level 8s. If they're not, they're on the brink. They're on the brink, and I've got to talk to them. So that being said, if you are a level 5, level 6, or level 7, the fact that you're even here listening to this, you're at least a level 6. Like you're definitely level 6. Level 5s, you're either a level 6, but you're stuck in level 5. You might be a level 4 and you feel the presence of level 6 and you're drawn to it. If you are drawn to it, you are it. You define where you are on this. I'm going to lay out a grid. I already have the grid laid out. Actually, I'm just going to give you the link and show you where it is. Go in there, figure out what your first combination is. We're going to start you on your first combination. You're going to have to take triadic healing for me to tell you where your second number is. That's going to require triadic healing. Because now you're getting into the subconscious mind, and that's where triadic healing steps in. But I can give you, you can figure out your first number. Your first number is your ethical definition. It's what your authority is and what your ethics are. And I just realized that I am way off topic, and that's okay because I'm just improvising this. So the energy, to answer the original question, what is the energy versus the energy is just, if you think of it this way, this is a great example. This is a perfect example. Imagine that you are a fish inside of a pool of water, and there's a glass divider between you and the other fish, and you are goldfish. Okay, you are just goldfish. You got this down. You are a comet. But over there are guppies. Okay, and you go up to the glass, and you're like pushing against the glass. And you can see the guppies, and you're like, what are those people? And the guppies, oh, this is a beautiful analogy. I'm going to keep this one going. The guppies, level ones, are looking through the glass at you, okay? And you're going, you. Now, the energy pool is the water. The energy is the water. Your intuition and your your intuition and your identity are your fins and your tail. Got it? All right, then. And you're sitting there like bouncing against each other, right? And you're over there. And then you swim across the thing, and there's another wall there. And you look through there. What are we? Comets? We're goldfish? Okay, and those are guppies? Those are going to be the red-tailed sharks, all right? So you go over there, and there's the red-tailed sharks. And you're like, oh, those are level 3s. Oh, that's such a great analogy. They are definitely the red-tailed sharks, little bastards. They're very aggressive fish. So you're like poking at them, and you can see them, and you know, and it's just, so this is your world. And every now and then you've got a new fish that drops into your tank, and that is the bigger fish that pretty much picks on you and treats you like shit. And you're like, okay, all right, all right, yeah. And he goes, well, you're a level 2. You're like a 2-year-old. You don't know anything. And the level 2 is sitting here going, well, you're in my tank, but okay, you know, all right, you're bigger, you're bully. And that additional sits there and beats on him. Now, level 8 is when you realize that you are morphed out of the fish mode and you are standing over the 7 tanks, and you can see all 7 separate tanks. And you realize that each fish is an evolution of its next level. It's the next stage of evolution, but it's happening before our eyes. And we're all mingled here together in this massive pool because we don't have divided fish tanks. Believe me, the system's trying to turn it into a fish tank. And the system is going, we all have to be what the majority says. And so right now it's number 4. So we're all crammed into a fish tank of 4, and we're all trying to be 4s. No. Bad monkey. No. The level 1s need their perspective tank. The level 2s need their perspective tank. And the level 3s need theirs. Oh, God, do they? Level 4s, oh. Level 3 is about independence. You're supposed to be isolated because you need to come to terms with your own identity. This is a crowded world, which means the level 3s are receiving the most abuse from it, which is why they're so violent. It's because they are at a developing stage where they must have independence. They must be isolated because right now, level 3s are having a war with themselves. They have to learn emotions like humility. In order for level 3s to learn humility, they have to be left completely alone in isolation. That is what I did with my son. instinctively. I was a level 5 and a 6. He had just turned 18, and I said, "You're going to be isolated." He was at level 3. I left him like that for a year on purpose because he was a level 3. I watched him find peace. I watched him come to terms with his rage. By the time his level 3 stage ended, he said, "I miss people and I love people and I appreciate people." I just moved him down here on the 24th of July because I realized subconsciously, instinctively, that it was time, that my son had finally evolved from level 3 and he was ready to reemerge with society and have rules. I then instinctively had ready for him 3 pages of code, cultured completely to perspective psychology based off of the perspective I've gained in the last 4 days. I handed him the papers knowing he's now in level 4 and he's craving rules and structure. And I handed him the rules and I said, "Here they are. These are the guidelines. These are the rules. These are what we obey." He now has the comfort and the security of perspective 4 thinking. Our perspectives are our comfort zones. It's what gives us security. It's what prevents our fear system from turning on. So when you gain perspective knowledge, when you understand perspective psychology, you're going to go, "Oh, I'm a level 4. I need rules to feel safe." Or "I'm a level 3. I need isolation to feel safe." See the difference. See it. And you're not getting what you need. You're not getting what you need because we live in a level 4 society. And the level 4s decided to say, majority rules. You know what this place needs? Structure, a system, and law. Because that's what level 4s do. And all the level 3s got crammed into it and went, "I don't like this. I need to be alone." "No, you can't be alone. You got to go to school and you got to be nice and you got to. And 2s, who are tribal, went, "Yay, a bigger tribe." So 2s ran to 4. 4s love 2s. 1s just do what their mothers say, just love the caregiver. So if mom says, "Oh, look, we're going into a society now," the 1s went, "Yay, mommy knows." And the 4s say, "Yes, mothers are important. Mothers need to take care of their children." So they paired them up because that's the way of it for level 4s. They love their rules. Everyone's got to be in a box. I love 4s. I really love 4s. So level 1s, or I'm sorry, the mothers who are probably level 4s are carrying their infants over, and the infant's just so happy because it gets its mother. Level 5s are the people who go, "Okay, the rat race, the 9 to 5 job is garbage, and I'm not making enough money, and this is crap, and I'm just as good as the system. Why the hell do I have to take direction from the system?" So it goes off and it does whatever it wants. It becomes an entrepreneur because now it knows that the authority is on par with the system's authority. In fact, I'm pretty sure I can make better rules than you. I know better because I have ethics now, and I can see the different species in all the different tanks. I'm starting to realize that, oh, look, there's another fish beyond that one. Oh, holy shit. I can see another fish. Those are the beta fish beyond that tank. But I couldn't even see them until I got to level 5. But not everyone gets to see them because some level 5s really love their comfort zone. And they're like, "You know what? I'm comfortable. I value comfort more than growth. Now that I'm aligned, I'm good. I'm good." But we have to be aligned. We have to be aligned to prevent the mental illness. Once we're aligned, we can be wherever we want. Once we get to where we want, now you've got a choice: comfort zone or growth. There is no right answer. It's your perspective. It always will be your perspective. Pick one. Pick one. Do you want to grow or do you want to stay in your comfort zone? There are some people Well, that's a whole nother topic. I was going to say there are some people who really love their comfort zone and they need to heal, but that's mental illness taking over. So it doesn't apply because when the subconscious mind decides what your perspective is going to be, that's where you get mental illness. 6 is when you realize that there are fish beyond the tank next to you. And you start to realize that the decisions you are making there in your tank number 2, in your tank number 5, are affecting 2 tanks down. You're starting to see the ripple effect. That is level 6. At level 6, you start to see the butterfly effect. At level 8, you get to direct and move and shift the butterfly effect. That's level 8. At level 6, you can sense the butterfly effect. At level 7, you go, oh, there's a butterfly effect happening and I'm part of it. Level 7 is, cool, butterflies. And you just start shifting and moving them around like little chess pieces, going, all right, I want to correct homelessness. I know how to move that. I want to correct this over here. I know where violence and war is coming from. I see this whole thing is messed up. I know how to fix it. World peace. That's level 8. So that's what I'm doing. Welcome to Operation Imagination. Everything's available over at my website, annashealinggarden.org. And I just need to say, I couldn't communicate any of this until I got to level 8. So I'm like, oh, finally, I can communicate it. It's been stuck in my head for 2 years. So thank you so much for listening. Thank you for enduring my rambling for the last year while I get to this point where I finally have the perspective to communicate what's been caught in my head for 2 years. So thank you. Thank you so much. annashealinggarden.org. You can start with the map, the treasure map. Everything is right there. Thank you so much. And may the kindest of words always find you. This is